Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Throwaway Atlanta 1999. My 25 male girlfriend, 25 female, has given up on her career after I became a millionaire. How do I tell her this won't work out? Backstory. I met my girlfriend, Kylie, fake name, in community college 7 years ago. We became really close friends and started dating 2 years later. At the time, she wanted to be a nurse, which was great. She was really passionate about it and I fully supported her. I ended up transferring to a 4-year university and earning my MBA. Kylie supported me emotionally the entire time through school, which I'm grateful for. Also, Kylie's parents ended up cutting her off financially because of her spending habits. She ended up taking a year off to work to help her with her bills. In the meantime, I invested all my savings, time, and energy into a startup platform with my best friend in the automotive industry. Earlier this year, we were bought out for a life-changing amount of money. We were both kept on as consultants with a high-paying salary as well. Kylie had kept her job at the jewelry store this entire time. Then, after the buyout, she told me she was handing her 2 weeks' notice in. I offered to pay for her school and expenses. At first, she was excited to go back and earn her nursing degree. I ended up purchasing a condo for us to live in. Big step up from our apartment, close to her school. Over the weekend, we were talking and she threw out the fact that she wasn't sure about wanting to go back to school and that she could be a stay-at-home wife. We're not married. I didn't say anything in the moment because I wasn't sure how to respond. Part of what attracted me to her in the first place was her ambition. It just doesn't sit right with me that she quit her job and career goals after I came into money. Her shopping and spending has also gone up. She's been looking at new cars. I could be overreacting, but something just doesn't seem right. I still love her and want it to work out, but I don't like this new side of her I'm seeing. Thanks in advance. Well, OP, I'd say you need to have a conversation with her and tell her what your expectations are for the future, and if her expectations don't align with yours, then you guys need to reach some sort of a compromise, or if this is a deal breaker for you, well then that's the end of the line. Also, you might think this is a new side to her, but maybe it's just a side that has been dormant for years because she didn't have the money to indulge her spending habit. And now she thinks she does. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Coastal Kid 92 says, not sure what kind of advice you want here. It's pretty easy to tell her that you never wanted a stay-at-home spouse, you want a partner that's also contributing to the household, and that you really valued her ambition toward having her own career and independence. You need to have a really frank discussion that as of right now, your assets are not shared wealth, that you're happy to help her get back to school, but that you intend for your lifestyle to be whatever and that you intend to invest further into the future. And OP responds, so here's another detail I left out. Her mom was a stay-at-home mom. Her dad is very well off, so I don't think she sees anything wrong with her decision. That's the family life she was raised in. When we first got together, she said she wanted to be the complete opposite of her mom. She wanted to be independent and have a career. In the future, if we end up having kids after getting married, I don't mind her to be a stay-at-home mom. But for now, that's way too far down the line. Sherry Simp says, now you see why her parents cut her off financially. She's a mooch. Sit her down and explain that you are willing to pay the basics and only if she goes back to school, but you will not be paying for anything more and she needs to continue to work. After all this time, school should have been finished. And OP responds, side story for the reason she got cut off. She ran over her friend with her car. Kylie says it was unintentional. The friend disagrees with that. Friend ends up suing Kylie's parents on the basis of them owning the car Kylie was driving. Anyways, Kylie's parents ended up settling with the friend for $250,000. They told Kylie she needed to get a job and get her own car after this. Magical Primus says she all of a sudden sees your money as her money. You need to explain to her that you aren't gonna fund her life and she needs to be an adult and earn her own living. And Ventress SD says, my sister is this way. She's 35 now and hasn't worked in over a decade. Her husband works 12 to 16-hour days and then comes home to do all the chores because my sister is too tired from Pilates and shopping to do chores. Poor guy. Don't be in relationships with gold diggers. This will be your future. Edit. Also, you should not date people who run other people over with their cars. Holy, burying the lead, Batman. So the community is in between telling OP that he should have a conversation with Kylie to tell her that he doesn't want this kind of life for the future or to run away because she's a gold digger. And OP gave us a lot more context as to why Kylie believes this is the right way to go and also why Kylie's parents cut her off, which was a doozy in and of itself. Anyways, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. First, I would like to thank everyone for their time and advice. I truly appreciate everyone's input. I had a serious conversation with my girlfriend Kylie about our future Thursday night. I told her that she needed to figure out a plan for the future, whether that be finding a job or going back to school. I told her if she goes back to school, I would support her financially, including paying for her degree. I told her I would give her until December to figure out the plan. She ended up getting really defensive and told me that she's the reason I'm in the position where I am in life. She said that I should pay for her lifestyle since she was there from the start. Then she proceeded to tell me that she wasted 5 years of her life with me. She told me that she could have been married and had a family by now. I was shocked because I've never seen this side of her. She was having a complete meltdown. I ended the conversation by telling her I tried my best to make this relationship work, but it won't work like this. Unlike her, I come from a very middle-class family. Both of my parents had jobs and contributed to the house. It was like she was completely a different person. That's when I realized that the money had really changed her. I basically told her that I had a business trip she knew about already. And when I get back on Tuesday to have all your stuff moved and give a mutual friend I trust the keys. I cancelled her credit card the same night. The car she currently drives has $6,000 left on the loan. Luckily, the car is in her name, so I'm not responsible for it. I've been making the payments on it for her for the last 6 months. Also, I don't feel too bad like I'm kicking her to the streets since her parents would never let her be homeless. Fast forward to Friday. Her sister called me a few times and I ignored it, but then I decided to answer since they were inside my condo. Her sister basically told me that Kylie has been crying the whole day and wanted to work things out. I told her it was too far gone for repair. Then today, her best friend called me wanting to know if I was able to meet for some drinks, which I thought was odd. Her best friend told me that she has some things to show me which were causing her to lose sleep. I told her that I would think about it, but honestly, I don't care at this point. Finding out about whatever Kylie did behind my back would just cause more pain. When I get back, I'm going to put the condo back on the market because I have no use for it anymore. I honestly have no interest in dating anymore. It's way too difficult for me to see the true intentions of people. Thanks again for all the help and support. This will probably be the end of this post, hopefully. But a side note, I had a lot of questions about Kylie running over her friend. I didn't know Kylie when this happened. Kylie originally spent her first semester of college at a private university. Kylie told me she accidentally put the car in drive instead of reverse and ended up hitting the friend. Kylie was super apologetic and the friend forgave her on the spot. Then the friend's mom found out about her daughter being hit by a car. They did research and learned that Kylie's dad is a big-time CEO of a major corporation and decided to sue her parents. The lawsuit was settled outside of court between Kylie's parents and the friend for $250,000. Kylie had to leave the private college after that and join me since her parents wanted her living back at home. I don't think it was intentional on Kylie's part, honestly, but then again, I saw a different side of her for the first time in 7 years of knowing her. Well, OP, I guess Kylie was really good at hiding her true self. I mean, she told you that you wouldn't be where you are right now if it wasn't for her and that she wasted 5 years of her life with you. So good for you for ending it and moving on. Here's wishing you the best in the future, OP. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit True of My Chest, and it's by user weeklysize407. I'm tired of my ex-husband's wife wanting to be my friend just because he cheated on us both. I don't understand why I'm in this situation, and honestly, I'm frustrated because even my own family tells me I'm the bad one here. I just need to vent, and I don't need any advice or somebody telling me, do this, I think you should tell her this, or I would write her this or this. More than 17 years ago, my ex-husband cheated on me with a woman I didn't know, but she knew me. He left me for her. Our only daughter was a baby, and I just moved on with my life. I'm never going to fight for a man who makes immature decisions without first thinking about the consequences. He married that woman, and I went on with my life, preferring to have a healthy co-parenting for my daughter. He never showed remorse, and he had even told me that ours was always a mistake and that woman was the love of his life. That helped me to realize that he's a total a-hole and I don't need a man like that in my life. Now, he cheated on her, and for some reason this woman, who always had a really cold and distant relationship with me, is insisting in trying to talk with me every day. I found out about the infidelity from my daughter, who wasn't affected by that, so I didn't think too much about it. The only thing that worried me was to know if he was going to be able to continue having our daughter at his house on weekends as always. But his wife started sending me messages explaining what happened when I never asked her that. And in the past, I only spoke to her if her husband didn't answer my texts to ask something about my daughter. It's obvious that she needs to talk about it. It doesn't matter if I answer dryly because she sends me long audios talking about it anyway. I mean, I understand that she needs to talk about her husband's infidelity and blah blah blah, but why me? I don't want to be rude, but I don't care how she or he feels. In one of her audios, she says, "You know how I feel now." Like, I guess, but that was 17 years ago and it's not the same. If I'm being 100% honest, she can't compare herself to me at all. A woman who has just given birth, to whom her husband tells her that he has been cheating on her for a long time with another woman who is not boring in bed and does know how to value him, versus a woman who always knew that her husband is unfaithful and decided to marry him anyway. Anyway, I've tried to ignore her as much as I can, but even when I talked to my family or friends about this, almost all of them told me things like, "Oh, but she must feel lonely, but she wasn't to blame for being the other one. I think you should be more empathetic. We all need someone to talk to," or my favorite one, "She's not to blame for him being a cheater. You should understand her because she needs help." I understand that she is not to blame and he's the cheater, but she, a totally adult woman at the time, decided to marry a man she knew was sleeping with her while his wife was pregnant. So why should I now carry the weight of helping her when she never helped me by telling me, "Hey, your husband slept with me and that's really crappy because he's married to you." Or that's what I'd do if a married man flirted with me. Now, if she didn't do any of that, then why is it my duty as a feminist to force myself to be her friend? It doesn't make sense. And the worst thing is that almost all the women around me tell me that I should help her and be her ear when I don't want or feel empathy for her or for him. I think she and he knew very well what they were getting into. I don't understand why I should be her free therapist now. Being cheated on is not my whole personality. I don't need to talk about that 24/7 with her. I just chose to ignore her, and that's what I'm going to continue doing because I just don't care how she feels. Even if I'm a bad feminist for not feeling empathy. Sorry, my first language is Spanish and I wrote everything pretty annoyed. Well, OP, I think you're absolutely in the right. All of those family members that are telling you that you're a bad person because you don't want to hear her out, yeah, they can all go get bent. She's a homewrecker. It takes two to tango. Sure, your husband cheated on you, but he cheated on you with her. And if she didn't know it at the time, she certainly knew after when she married him. So considering you don't want any advice, if you choose to continue to ignore her, you're absolutely in your right to do that, and if anybody thinks otherwise, you can give them her phone number so they get to talk to her. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Wild Black Hat says, personally, I just find your family really weird. Just from the title, the situation seemed so absurd that it made me laugh. You don't owe her anything. Tell her to find a therapist because you don't care. And Opie responds, my mother was someone's lover, so she has the mentality of, you can't judge the life of others. It wasn't her fault to fall in love. So that's kind of the way she and my siblings think. Kantaicho says, F it, next time you tell her to become friends with the new woman. They have more in common than you both. And Worth Mammoth 2646 says, I would be brutally honest with her like you were in the post. You're absolutely right. I think you can't compare your situations 17 years ago and now. She knew in what she was going to. She has made her bed and she has to lie in it. You're not her therapist. If you ask me, she also has to take the blame for sleeping with a married husband, knowing his wife is bringing his child into this world. Your family don't even know how to describe it. Your mom just trying to justify her own actions with that? Ew. And Opie responds, at one point I thought about being totally honest, but then I thought that would only bring unnecessary problems if they get back together because it seems like that. Just answer things like, what a shame, or and she sends me audios of more than 2 minutes that I don't usually listen to because I don't care. Alright, so one thing is really clear. OP does not care and OP's mom sucks. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hi, it's been a while since I posted and I just wanted to give a little update for people who were worried. First of all, my mother was a lover for a long time when I was a teenager, plus during my adulthood. Their relationship lasted long years until he died. I think his wife never found out about his affair. That's why my mom manipulates me so much into not judging my ex's wife because no one chooses who they fall in love with. My mother always reflected herself on that woman, and that's why she said that my ex-husband and his lover, now wife, are soulmates and I shouldn't get in the way. I was very young at the time and could only lean on my mother for a little support. Well, narcissists always catch vulnerable people. Nowadays, I don't have much contact with her, but my daughter spends time with my family. And about my friends, well, I am a feminist activist and opinions regarding lovers are divided. Most of the time, it's seen as something misogynistic to judge them because they are single women and the man is the one we should blame. Plus, we need to be sorors with other girls. So I expected that reaction from most of them. I agree with that in most cases, but not in this one. I can feel empathy when the woman did not know or when she is a minor being groomed, but in this case, I do not feel any pity because she knew well what she was doing. Women can also be mean and cruel. Women can also choose to be the bad guys in the story without someone manipulating us because we are not weak and my ex's wife is that woman. She chose this. I'm sorry, that explanation was perhaps unnecessary, but there were people who didn't understand my family's and friends' behavior, and honestly, it feels good to vent. I have spoken with my ex's wife because honestly, a few days ago, I had a really stressful day and the last thing I needed was to see her messages in my WhatsApp, so I just exploded. I sent her an audio telling her that I am not interested in her life or in the fact that she's suffering. I told her that I am not her friend, nor am I interested in being one. She never asked me for forgiveness and now expects me to start the group of women cheated on by my ex? I told her other things and I would love to be able to post audios here. I told her that she knew very well what she got herself into. She knew well that my ex was capable of cheating on the mother of his baby, but she still decided to marry him and live the stupid fantasy that she could change him and that she was different from all the other women he was with. God, I hate long audios, but it was 5+ whole minutes telling her that her situation and mine are nothing alike. I think that was my greatest catharsis. She got upset and we started arguing. It was quite tiring, and the last thing I want is to have problems after 17 years of having normal co-parenting. I know they are not going to get divorced, and that means I will have to live with her in my life forever. So I sent a message to my ex resending him one of the audios she sent me. I took the work to listen to them all, and she never apologized to me. I don't need her apologies, by the way. I don't care, but some comments asked me about that. They were just audios complaining and wanting us both to speak badly about him or wanting to have me as a free therapist. I told my ex to tell his wife to calm down and pay for a psychologist. He apologized to me and told me that they are both working on the marriage, so they are at the stage where she still feels angry and insecure with him. Like, yes, obviously, you idiot. So, since I suffered the same, no, it's not the same, she felt that we could share the pain. I told them that I am not friends with her and that this affects our co-parenting, so he should put a stop to her if she doesn't understand what I say. In the end, he reluctantly told me he was going to talk to her, and I've gone 3 days without any messages from her, except today where she just told me that my daughter was sleeping there, so I guess it worked. I don't care if they live a happy or miserable marriage. I don't care if she's happy knowing that he cheated on her but stays with him anyways. I just want to live in peace without getting into trouble with people who at 40+ years old are still living mentally in high school. Well, OP, I think it's a positive update for you. Everything that was bugging you, you were able to get off your chest, and this woman isn't bugging you anymore. So, here's wishing you the best. Take care, OP, and thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So, here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.